Doubt or self-doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Hi everyone, my name is Mehar and welcome to another Chit Chat over Chai session with me. For those of you who are new to my channel, I just want to say that the Chit Chat over Chai sessions are different from my other videos because in these I try to keep the conversational very friendly and personal, sharing my personal experiences with you on certain topics. I don't really have a script for these type of videos. I just go with the flow of what I feel like talking about. So as you can see from the title of this video, it is about dealing with self-doubt. And it is a very serious topic and one of the things I've struggled with almost all my career and before I started working actually, and that is just dealing with self-doubt and feeling incompetent. It is a serious topic and I think it needs to be talked about more often than we actually do, because I feel these are things almost all of us struggle with. We don't know if the other person in front of us is struggling with the same, but most of the time they are. So through today's video, I'm going to try and cover three things. The first is something called the imposter syndrome. What it is, what are the symptoms, and what are the consequences of that syndrome. The second is my personal journey dealing with self-doubt as well as imposter syndrome. And the third is some things that I have done and you can do to overcome self-doubt, feeling low about yourself, underconfident, and trying and building up your self-esteem. So let's begin. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share this video with your friends and press the like button in case this is something that you connect with. And please leave your comments down below on similar challenges you have faced in your professional and personal life. I always look forward to hearing from you all. So coming on to imposter syndrome, I decided to talk about this because I recently had a conversation with my mom about this topic and I shared with her my vulnerability and how I actually experienced this syndrome and how I've dealt with it. And she didn't even know that something like this exists and something like this is actually a syndrome as such. And when I read about this syndrome for the first time, it was about I think 5-6 years ago, and I immediately connected with it because it is a feeling that I had been feeling but I didn't know it had a term, which is why I feel the need for me to communicate what it is and educate and help whoever I can through my experience, through my story, through the research I have done over the years. So what exactly is imposter syndrome? Imposter is anyone who is an outsider, someone who feels like a fraud, someone who feels like they're imposing themselves on someone or something else. So it is an internalized fear that some of us face of coming across as phony, a fraud, a fake, or thinking you're not worthy enough to get what you want, or you don't deserve what you have or what you got, or you thinking to yourself that whatever I've achieved in my life is because of luck and not because of my capabilities. We internally feel that we are not as competent as others around us. We are not as competent as others think we are. And when these thoughts, these feelings, this kind of negative self-talk comes into our mind, we begin to question everything around us. We begin to question our reality. We begin to question our self-worth. And it starts to impact our self-esteem, our self-confidence. We start feeling unworthy. We feel like we don't deserve the credit we are getting. We stop ourselves from speaking up. We stop ourselves from going outside of our comfort zone. Basically, we start questioning our ability to do things and prove ourselves to others. We go into our little box and we stay there because we feel we are not good enough or we feel like we will be caught as a fraud. And these kind of situations or feelings can arise both in your personal life as well as your professional life. So what does imposter syndrome lead to? Like I've already said, it leads to a lot of self-doubt. It leads to a lot of anxiety. We develop a fear of failure. We put this pressure on ourselves to achieve great things. We start degrading our own achievements. If someone compliments us or praises us, we don't take it well, we don't know how to react. And there's actually a study that was conducted. Imposter syndrome is something that women deal with more than men. I'm not saying that men don't deal with it at all, but women deal with it more because I think it's like a cultural thing, or how we are brought up as girls. We are taught to not speak too much, not brag about ourselves, be humble and modest. I'm sure lots of men deal with it themselves, whether in their personal or professional life. But the study does suggest that women tend tend to credit the circumstances around them or call it luck when they succeed at something, whereas men tend to praise themselves more often. You can notice imposter syndrome in the small things that you experience or do. So for example, if you did well at a project, or if you got into your dream school or your dream firm, you tend to think to yourself that, oh, I succeeded because I studied all night for it, or I rehearsed all night for it, or my interviewer was really nice, or you did well on your exams because the paper was easy. We start discrediting our own abilities, we start changing our own beliefs about ourselves, and then it's a vicious cycle because it goes on and on. You achieve one thing and then you want to achieve the next thing, and you set unrealistic goals for yourself sometimes because you want to keep proving yourself. You want to keep proving yourself to yourself, your family, the ones around you, and that only leads to us constantly feeling anxious. You can face imposter syndrome in your personal life as well. You may be in a group of friends who you feel are overachievers, and you think that you are not as successful as them, or you're not as social as them, or you're not as financially secure as them. These kind of thoughts start playing in our mind, and we feel like we don't fit in a social group because we're not good enough. In a professional environment, imposter syndrome could lead to feelings like constantly competing with your colleagues, or feeling like your manager doesn't trust you, doesn't like you, or feeling like you're going to lose the job because they'll find out you're not good enough. We start berating our own performance. We fear that we won't live up to the expectations of other people around us. And that's not a nice place to be. And that's why now I'll move on to the second thing I wanted to cover, which is a little bit about my story and how I deal with self-doubt and my story regarding imposter syndrome. So something like this always strikes us the most when we are in a new environment, something that's different for us. We're out of our comfort zone. We've achieved something grand. So for example, when I started my job at KPMG, and when I also walked into Imperial College for my MBA classes for the first time, it's the same feeling that I got, which was, am I competent enough to be here? These people seem more experienced than me. These people seem smarter than me. Why did I even get in? Why was I selected? My MBA college had students who were from the age groups of 24 to 38. So I constantly compared myself to people who had more experience than me, people who had worked in different industries, had done different courses than me. Even once I became a chartered accountant, I felt like I just passed because I studied hard. I felt like I didn't know the concepts very well. I asked myself, am I even good enough to be a CA? Do I even have that in-depth knowledge a chartered accountant is supposed to have? Did I learn anything at all in these 5 years of studying for this course? And like I said, same during some of the jobs that I've done. And I think it's a lot to do with comparing yourself to others or having a negative bias. Out of 10 things we do, we may be doing 8 things correctly and 2 things incorrectly or not the best. And somehow negative bias is when you only think about the 2 things that didn't go well, and you forget the 8 things that you've done well. So all these things, I think, led me to become a very quiet student, a quiet employee at KPMG. I didn't speak up enough at meetings to ask questions. But what I tried to do at the MBA, which was something very different that I had not done before, was I tried to brush up my presentation skills, and I made sure that I presented. I really tried to push myself out of my comfort zone, but that didn't mean that I wasn't feeling those feelings inside. I still felt, oh, there were other people who were better presenters, there were other people who asked smart questions, and I still struggle with this. I still sometimes feel like there are other people better than me, there are other people who could be doing what I do much better than me, and I think those feelings don't go away. And I think a lot of this stems from our childhood. As a child, I never participated in any debates in school. I wasn't a public speaker. I didn't participate in anything in which I had to have a voice or an opinion or raise my hand to ask questions in class. I wasn't that student, and because of that experience, because of those 11-12 years of being a shy student, I carried that forward with me in the first job I did at KPMG. Then I think at the first part of the MBA, the second part of the MBA, I really tried to do things differently. I started building one-on-one relationships with people. I started networking more. I started having conversations with a lot of people who I hadn't spoken to before. And I think that's when I sort of changed personally. And I also feel like my maximum growth has happened ever since I've launched this YouTube channel. And that's because I've sort of stopped caring what other people think beyond a point. There are still days when I feel like, what am I doing? What do I expect out of this? why am I putting so much time and energy and effort into this? But because I'm so passionate about it, I keep going. I stop that inner voice. I don't think about what others would think anymore, especially with respect to my YouTube channel. I still struggle with things at work, and the only thing that I do now is I just try to take more action. So if I'm feeling trapped or if I'm feeling unworthy, underconfident, I try to do the opposite now. So I'll speak up at meetings, I'll ask questions, I'll reach out to people to give me feedback, I'll prepare well for a presentation, I'll present more often. So that's the number one thing I've changed about myself, especially in the last year or so. And that's my number one tip to dealing with anything to do with self-doubt, is take action, because those voices in your head will not stop completely ever. You have to find a way around them. You have to stop sabotaging yourself and your abilities and just going out of your way to take action. And then another thing that I recommend doing is journal your thoughts. Think of what you're feeling, why you're feeling them, and question those negative thoughts. Tell yourself you're not as bad as you think you are. You have as many number of abilities as others. Actually, we know what's going on inside of us, our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, our anxieties. We have that inner voice, but we only see the best version of others. We don't know what are the voices going on inside their head. We don't know their insecurities, we don't know their anxieties, we don't know their fears. Maybe they are struggling with the same thing, but they are faking it till they make it. The third thing I recommend you doing is assess your abilities, make a list of your achievements. Take your diary and just make a list of all the things you have achieved, personally, professionally, even the smallest things we tend to forget. Think of everything you have worked hard for and how you actually achieved those things. Think of your struggle, think of your milestones, and think about how you did your best. And the next thing you can do is actually talk to someone. That could be someone you're close to, someone who's a parent, a family member, a best friend, or someone you look up to, someone who's an inspiration to you. Ask them about their struggles and how they dealt with them. Nobody talks about these things, but if we actually do ask that question, a lot of people will open up about their journeys and their challenges. We never know who's going through something similar or who's been through something we are experiencing right now. Another thing we have to learn to do is stop comparing ourselves to others. Think of the people in your life and think of the people you are envious of and try and look at them from a positive angle. So for example, if you are envious of someone who is in a good university or someone who has found the perfect partner or found the dream job, dream home, anything that you aspire to have, instead of saying, wow, she's so lucky, he's so lucky, they have everything, I'll never be as good enough to get those things, put a positive spin to it. Instead, say things like, I'm so happy for her, so happy for him, they've achieved all this success and happiness, I too will achieve that one day. I'm also worthy of achieving those things. I'm as good as everyone else. And the last thing I think you can do is seek professional help or therapy if you're dealing with very heavy feelings of imposter syndrome or self-doubt, because if we don't deal with these feelings and we don't talk to someone, it can lead to things like depression, anxiety, and sometimes professional help or therapy is what we need and we don't realize it. It's good to talk about our mental health. It's good to have those conversations with our friends and family. I think it's high time that we start talking about our internal struggles. We need to stop fighting our feelings. We need to start accepting them and dealing with them positively. That's it, my friends. I hope this video was useful. I know it was very heavy and personal, but I hope you realize that everyone deals with such things at some point in their lives, for the smallest things or the biggest challenges. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's better than us. We're as good as everyone else. Everyone who's a CEO, a president, a Nobel Prize winner, a best-selling author, or an ace public speaker. These are all people who have the same kind of doubts as we do about ourselves. It's all about refusing to let it hold us back and keep going by just taking baby steps. Don't let self-doubt stop you from pursuing your goals and your dreams. I'll be back soon with another one, but until then, keep going and refuse to stop. I hope to see you soon. Bye.